Welcome to Money Talk with Tiff, a podcast where we discuss everything money from tips and tricks to current events. Follow me on my journey to become debt-free and meet other cool people along the way. I am your host, Tiffany Grant. Now let's talk money. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Money Talk with Tiff. So today I have Adrian Quarles, and Adrian is an artist of many platforms from Shelby, North Carolina. He's acted in 38 plays, including Time, which he wrote, produced, directed, and acted in September of last year. This brother is talented. He has also released 3 hip-hop mixtapes and is an educator for Guilford County Schools. We love our teachers. He's currently the host and creator of ADQ'S RENAISSANCE, a podcast in which he aims to connect all Black artists of all platforms. Hey, Adrian, thank you so much for being on. How are you today?
Hey Tiffany, I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm doing wonderful.
Awesome. So I just wanted to let the audience in on a little something. So as you all know, I am the side hustle queen, right? So it's funny because I met Adrian. He was actually one of my Lyft passengers, and we got to talking about money, ended up exchanging information, and now we have a connection where, you know, I was a guest on his podcast, he's a guest on mine. We bounce ideas off of each other, and I just wanted to bring that up because it's important to know that when you're doing these side hustles, especially like Uber, Lyft, things like that, when you're in a close confined space with another individual, you never know who you're going to meet. And you never know whose life you're going to impact or change. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I met Adrian through one of my side hustles that I'm always preaching about. So I think that's hilarious. And it's funny because Adrian remembers that, and I did it. I'm like, how did I meet this dope individual? And he's like, we met on a Lyft ride. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that goes to show you that networking is the name of the game.
It definitely is. So I just wanted to get into a little bit of your story because it's quite interesting. So, you know, we talked a little bit before we got on, and you mentioned that you were homeless at one time, but you were able to channel that energy into something else. So if you wanted to get into that a little bit, you know, how did you get to that place, and then what you channeled that energy into?
Well, absolutely. Like, that's why I love how you tell your listeners and your followers a whole bunch of money tips and whatnot, and how to fully take care of their money and their finances, because that's something that I did not do, which I was ill prepared for the transition of jobs that I had that took place in my life, which led to, unfortunately, me losing my apartment last year. Now, I was blessed to be able to stay with a couple of friends last year, a couple and another friend of mine. Shout out to them. But you know, there's just something about not being able to sleep in your own place. It does something to your it does something to your psyche. It does something to your mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So actually, at the beginning of the year, I knew that I wanted to do a play that I wrote called Time. I had did it like I had presented it 2 years before, I think. No, a year earlier over at a workshop over at UNCG, where I used to go to school at, and it was well received. So I said to myself, yo, I'm going to turn this into a full play Christmas of 2017. I had already been like going through some mental illness, some mental health issues and stuff up until I lost my apartment. Now, one would think that right there would just shut down all motivation, shut down all desire to take steps out into life, right? But for me, it only heightened it.
Mm.
So I decided to myself, you know what? This is a story that God has put into my heart. And I am part of a group of people that does not talk about this issue as much as it needs to be talked about. So what I did, and this is what I would recommend anyone do when they're trying to when they're working on a hustle. You gotta stack your money. What I did was pay off Call Clue Multicultural Center, pay off a space in there little by little by little by little by little over the months, and I ended up paying enough to where I was able to rent it out for rehearsal for about a month, right? And so I thought to myself, yo, I could either charge people tickets for this, or I could ask for donations. I decided on donations because I wanted them to know I appreciated them being there. Like, your presence is not just a dollar sign, it's not just a dollar bill to me. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and I'm hoping that you take something from this play and apply it to your life or someone that you love's life in some form. Well, I ended up getting a whole lot of donations from that, and all this was taking place while I was homeless. So being homeless only empowered my drive to put this play on, and I thought made it all the more important to talk about the story of a Black man who is suicidal.
And you know what? So you said a mouthful right there.
Yeah, I was wondering if I answered your question.
Oh, you answered it and then some. So I just wanted to rewind back a little bit because it's important for my audience to understand that a lot of people are just one paycheck away from being homeless. And now that we're in the midst of this whole coronavirus quarantine situation where the economy is suffering and people are losing their jobs, it's even more important now to realize that you need to start saving. You need to start taking this money thing seriously, because there are some people that aren't going to make it out of this the same way that they came in, if you know what I mean. So it's important for people to understand that most of America right now, and even before the whole COVID thing, was one paycheck away from being homeless. And I talked about this in a previous episode when I had a brother that, helped the homeless and things like that. And to me, the statistics are crazy, and I never want any of my listeners to be in that situation. So that's why I stress the things that I do. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. And then also, you talked about mental health. And see, for me, that's a sensitive topic as well, because I was diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression back when I was in my early 20s, and it was long term. So it's something that I've struggled with since the first time I remember trying to kill myself, I was probably about 5 years old, and I tried to take some of my grandma's medications. So from that point up until I had my oldest son, there were times where I tried to kill myself. And thankfully, it didn't happen because I'm here to tell this story. And just like with you, you're here to tell this story. But mental health is real, and we need to take it seriously. So I'm glad I was able to experience your play. I watched his play, and it was awesome, y'all. You definitely need to check it out. But yeah, for sure. Because I was almost at a point of tears, because I'm just like, wow, like, people struggle in silence, or people, they can't quite pinpoint what is wrong with them. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the main character, what was happening to him in the story. He didn't know what was going on. He just know he was snapping.
Absolutely. A lot of us who are a lot of us who have mental health struggles, we are not in control of our emotions. Like recently, I looked at all the symptoms of bipolar depression, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw what part of my personality checks off. And I just looked at that, and I'm like, oh, dang, I think I might be bipolar. Mm. I didn't snap at anybody. I didn't throw anything. I didn't punch the wall or anything. I didn't do anything. I just stood there and I cried. I'm not crying unless I'm watching Color Purple. That's a different story. but see, I know that for me and for our community, I think I could say this. A lot of us are afraid to accept or embrace the problem that we have, which is mental health, because it shows weakness. And we are part of what I think is the strongest people, most spiritual people to walk this earth. Ain't none of us out here trying to be looking weak. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. And see, the thing about it is your mental health can get in the way of your money, right? So like I personally, like when I get into my funks, I don't want to do anything. And so as an entrepreneur, if I get to that point where I don't want to do anything, I don't make any money. And then my finances start suffering. So it's like you have to look at your whole wellness, like your holistic wellness. So we're talking about physical, we're talking about mental, we're talking about financial. All of that encompasses you, and all of that plays a part in how you react to situations and what's going on. So like I've been in situations where my mental affected me so bad that I was on the brink of, having massive debt and no income, right? And part of that was like back in October, I was going through a really rough time. I've talked about it, on social media, but I wasn't doing anything. I was just sleeping all day, every day. And when you don't have that cushy 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to be on hustle mode all the time. And so when I snapped out of it, I was like, all right, Tiffany, it's time to get to work, because at the end of the day, you have 2 little kids that are depending on you, and you have to pay your mortgage and all this stuff. You can't be in a funk for too long.
Well, for one thing, Tiffany, number one, I thank God that, all that your suicide attempts have failed, because you, my queen, are a integral part of this society, of all civilization, and your people need you very much. And I'm glad that among the very slim list of things that you failed at, that's one of them. And I'm pretty sure that's one of like maybe 2-3 things that you failed at. Number 2,
I've had a lot of failures.
and you cannot, that's one point that I want to make. First of all, it's a mindset thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a man thinketh, so is he. I think, therefore I am. Okay, so it all starts with the thought process. Yes, you are in a funk. Everybody has a right to be in a funk. Everybody has a right to have a bad day. But that's a bad day. So I'm giving you 24 hours to go through whatever it is you're going through, but then you need to get back at it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So 24 hours, cry, grieve, do whatever. But at the end of those 24 hours, I suggest you get in prayer mode. I suggest you get in meditation mode, and you start speaking these affirmations among you, because you cannot forget the end goal. Do you want to be where you're at this time next year? I'm looking at where I'm at right now. Do I want to be here? Do I want to be here in 5 years when I turn 40? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. So you cannot let temporary circumstances overwhelm your end goal and whatnot. You just gotta look at it as a hill to climb a little bit tougher over. A hill that you gotta put a little bit more elbow grease into, if you will, to climb over. Being homeless, man. Being homeless was a hill. When I was homeless, I was around a whole litany of mental health problems with myself and with those who I cohabitated with. I can tell you some stories, and I'm not going to. But you can't look at that and say, okay, this is it. I'm done. I give up. Nah, you gotta look at that as something to strengthen you along your journey.
And I always say, necessity breeds innovation. So when you were going through that time where you were homeless, you had a need. Your needs weren't being fulfilled. So you had to be innovative in how you fulfilled those needs. And therefore, you used your gifts and you created a play in which you asked for donations, and it probably far exceeded what you thought you was going to get from that, right?
It did. Like, I thought that I did not know how many people show up. I really didn't. Like, when we were on stage, the lights were like, the room was like really dark because I wanted it to be dark to set the mood for the play. I had no clue how many people in the audience. But I said to myself, I don't care if 2 people show up. I'm proud of what I did, what I'm doing here. Lights came on, the joint was packed out. So many people who I've known, which is where networking comes in handy. So many people who I've known, so many people who I've met over the course of my adulthood, right? So that's where networking come in handy. All of them believed in what I did, believed in the other two actresses. The other two actresses who are in the show believed in us and say, you know what, I want to bless your project. If someone believes in you enough, they're going to do that. They're going to feel very giving.
And see, I love your story because it just shows people that even if you are at what you consider your bottom, there's always something you can do to impact your money situation. There's always something that you can do to get to that next level. So even though you were there, you were like, okay, I can't stay here forever. I need to figure out a way out of this, and this is what I'm gonna do. And I think that is so powerful, and I commend you because it's so easy, even with my own story, like it's so easy to get comfortable and to get cozy in situations that you don't want to be in. And so that to me is a huge success story. And you should definitely take it as such. You have overcome so much, and it was for a reason. You're here sharing your story. Maybe somebody listening to this right now is currently homeless or is currently battling mental health issues. And now they can see, okay, if Adrian did it and if Tiffany did it, I can do it too, you know?
Yeah. I will tell anybody, you only get one life on this earth. You get one shot. You only get one shot. Like it says in the Eminem song, you only get one shot. Do you want your life to just be you slaving and working all day, every day, just to stay ahead of the bills? That's not living. That's merely existing. What you want to do is just figure out, what do I want to be? Just sit down and decide to yourself, what do I want to be? Why do I feel like God has created me? What is my assignment on this earth? I learned from a young age that my assignment is to entertain refined people through theater, through the multiple forms of the arts that I immerse myself into. Now, the fact that I was a very shy kid, the fact that I was a very shy and awkward kid, that's kind of like, that was kind of like hard to fathom for me growing up. But I knew I had to get there. So I just took the necessary steps as the years went by. And I bet you when you're doing some soul searching and trying to figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing, you won't mess around and end up having to do something that is far, 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 far beyond your reach, but they ain't gonna stop you from reaching it. I mean, Tiffany, so you were struggling, paycheck to paycheck, 2 boys, financial empowerment was far, far, far beyond your reach. But look at you.
That's a word. That's a word. Because if you would have told me that I would be teaching people about money, let's say even just 4 years ago, I would looked at you like you was crazy. Like, what you mean?
If you would have told me when I was like 16 years old, voice cracking, screwing up my chorus class exam, that I would be singing in front of people in musicals, I would have thought you were tripping. I would be like, man, what you smoking, man? You need to leave that stuff alone.
But it just goes to show that, you know, it doesn't matter whatever you are gifted in, right? So I'm gifted in finessing money and figuring out ways to make, save, and spend money, right? You're good at acting, directing, writing, producing, all of that stuff. So it just goes to show that if you lean into your gifts, there's going to be a way to make money and there's going to be an audience out there for you. So I just wanted to go ahead and wrap this up. I highly recommend listening to ADQ'S Renaissance. He based it off the Harlem Renaissance, where it was just all Black people love everywhere. And I'm actually on episode 23, if you want to check it out, where I drop a few gems about money. And I just want to encourage you all to check out his play. I will post the link if you let me. Do I have permission? Is it there? Is it there? All right. So I will post a link, or I might even post a video of the play on the website that you all can check out. And with that being said, Adrian, how can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Facebook. I'm on Facebook. My full government name, Adrian Dion Quarles, ADrianDionQuarles. Instagram, Dion, Dion, Chocolate God 85. Yeah, I really did name myself that. And on on Twitter, Avenue ADQ _85. I named that after the play Avenue Q. I thought it was dope.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adrian. This was a very powerful and informative and empowering episode. So I hope somebody out there takes this and gets the ball rolling on whatever it is that was put on your heart and why you were here on this earth. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure speaking with you.
You too, Tiffany. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. For free resources and materials, head over to moneytalkwitht.com. And while you're there, why not sign up for our newsletter so you'll never miss an episode? Talk to you soon.